Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I am here simply to show you one duel. Now, I was playing one of my favorite decks of all time, if not... Okay, this isn't my favorite deck of all time, but it is one of my favorite decks. Probably second favorite, which is Sprite for Hire Runic, which is a very, very enjoyable deck that utilizes the Runic cards as well as the For Hire cards to make this very interesting combo build that allows you to draw a whole bunch of cards and then utilize the Runics basically as hand traps. It's very interesting, it's very dynamic, and I've showed it a whole bunch on stream and in videos, so if you want to check out what the deck does, you can go check out those other videos. I'm sure you can find them, right? But, as I was playing this deck, I played against Stun. And I'm going to show you that duel in a second, but I do really quickly want to explain why I even stayed in that game. Normally, I just scoop it up, I see that I can't play the out, yada yada. But one thing that I do like about this deck in particular is that it utilizes the Runics in a unique way to not just like play Stun itself, but instead to actually like generate advantage through like the field spell and stuff like that. But a lot of this allows you, or playing this allows you to play around a lot of these like weird floodgates and stuff like that that normally would hinder other decks, right? So for example, like a Dimension Fissure, which would normally be detrimental, doesn't really matter because Dimension Fissure in particular doesn't banish spells. So we can just play through the spells and it's not that big of a deal, right? Things like certain barrier statues, like for example, the Fire Barrier statue, which no one is playing right now, but like the Fire Barrier statue, the Earth Barrier statue, those are things that we can play through, right? Lots of these different weird interactions that really make the deck pretty interesting and pretty fun. So I'm going to show you that duel, and yeah, here it is. Alright, so here we are going second against, remember, the Stun. It's Stun. So do keep that in mind. So my opponent just normal summons Barrier Statue, and I'm like, okay. They set 3 with a Dimensional Fissure. I'm like, okay, this is not great. Also, notably, Flashing Fire targets a special summoned monster, not a normal summoned, so this card is dead. This card is dead, this card is dead. All of these cards are basically dead. So I have to just normal summon red and hope that it works. It doesn't, they have Crackdown, because I swear, every single Stun player plays Crackdown. I don't know why. It's such a bad card. But they do, because I guess it's good in Stun. I feel like this could be a myriad of other cards and it would be better, but alas, sure. Crackdown, whatever. Works. So I just set 2 and pass. I don't set Dispelling. I probably should have, just in case they were, like, gonna activate Pot of something. And then they top deck Clockwork Knight. Crazy. Really powerful for them. Now, I can't even, like, just normal summon a guy. But then I top deck Fountain, and I'm like, oh, great. They activate this here for reasons I don't know. Oh, okay, they have the second one. So they had 2 judgments. Wild. But notably, Runic Fountain goes to the grave. Keep that in mind. Runic Fountain is in the grave. However, my Rex is banished. I just have to pass the turn here. I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm not really, like, in too much of a rush. I doubt that they're gonna have any way to, like, speed up the clock or anything like that. So, sure, this is fine. I'm gonna stick around. I got this. I draw Ash, doesn't do anything. I'll just keep it in hand. Why not? Yeah, Clockwork Knight is it's a really, really well-balanced card. Anyway, I take another hit, and I'm like, okay, I gotta top deck something useful here. Okay, that's not it. I'm going to set 2 more cards. I set the Runic Dispelling here, just in case they end up drawing something, right? Set the Dompa. Dompa goes Banish. Kind of sucks. Not really anything I can do about that. Sure. Pass. I draw. Oh, there we go. I fire off the tip, just in case they're playing Droll. I'm going to fire it in the draw phase. We banish a Jowkin. Fun. But I draw, or I'm able to grab Freezing Curses, which allows me to play the game. So here we go for the Gary here. Grab back the field spell, and I'm feeling good. I'm like, okay, we're doing good. Now, they do have a set card, and I'm like, oh, please don't be a Judgment. And it wasn't, and I was so happy. And then I realized, so, okay, so I normal summon the Ash here, which seems a bit weird. You're probably wondering, why did you normal summon Ash? So, I was like, cool, I can just make Donner, right? Donner, 2 different types. I have 2 different types. They're machines because of Clockwork Knight. Who printed this card? Why would you ever print this card? This card reads like a Stun player's wet dream. Why would we ever give them any card like this? This seems like not a card that should exist. Anyway, that's all. It's like Oko in Magic, or... Okay, that's the only one I can think of. Anyway, I draw a whole bunch of cards thanks to my activation of Slumber, which now it's funny. But notably, I can still go into IP Masquerade because it just requires 2 non-links. Fantastic. So we get to special summon the red, special summon the blue. Blue gets to search out the Jet, and then Jet can special summon itself, and we're looking good. I grab up Smashers. Now, notably, I do need removal. The problem is, what removal do I specifically grab? And, like, what does it actually do? What do I actually remove, right? Do I remove the Barrier Statue? Do I remove Dimensional Barrier? Do I remove Clockwork Knight? Like, none of these are good answers. I'm going to go for the Carrot here, and then I'm actually going to activate the Smashers, banishing my red, and banishing the Dimensional Fissure. And the reason I do this is because I can go for the Elf here. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can go Elf, I can bring back the IP Masquerade, which is great, and then we're off to the races from there, which is really, really nice. And then I genuinely just forgot that the Barrier Statue was, like, there. And, yeah, realistically, the better play would have been to bring back Gigantic, because it actually has, like, attack stats. So... Oops. Sorry. I'm just stupid. And of course, another Barrier Statue. Okay, well, let's see how this goes. Oh, we're just better! Alright, we draw the tip, we grab Destruction. Fantastic. We can now deal with the Clockwork Knight, which allows us to actually utilize the rest of our cards. Also, notably, keep in mind, as of at this point, I have banished like half of their deck because of all of the Runic cards that I've been able to activate, right? So I'm ahead now in a lot of ways. I draw 3. These are all pretty bad except for Freezing Curses. So I'm like, okay, cool. Freezing Curses allows me to do something. We're gonna grab Rex. We're gonna normal summon the Rex. Grab up the Rookie for Hire, and then I'm going to Freezing Curses the Barrier Statue here, which allows me to banish this moment. I'm sorry, I really hate this card, but it's fine. Now we get to go for the Rookie for Hire. We get a Tribute in order to go for our Beat, and then we can go into Donner. We can now activate the effect Tribute to Special Summon 2. So we're going to special summon, activate the Beat, grab up the Rex, and then we're going to go and special summon out the Rex, and then I just go to the end phase because I have to skip the battle phase. But I'm like, okay, cool, you don't have a way to deal with the Beat. No. Okay, no, I can do this under 2 Barrier Statues. Oh, I can't do this. This is, again, it's looking tragic. Wow, that is really bad draw. However, notably, I now have an 1100 attack point monster, which is fantastic. But my opponent's playing half or nothing? What is this? Progression? Who's playing half or nothing? Okay, I'll end the battle phase. If you do not have the 3rd Pachycephalo, which I believe... No, okay. They have to have, like, Inspector Border or something like that. At this point, I am in control. I have the ability to just walk over their monsters. So I just go to battle. I'm like, cool, I'm going to walk over you. That's fine. I'm going to normal summon at a max C. Go into Donner, because, again, just 2 types. Activate the Rex effect to special summon. Out comes the boy. Then we get to go and pop, utilizing our Donner. So we pop. Now we get to go for Flashing Fire. It's useful. I don't know why I used the one from hand. I should have used that one. It doesn't really matter. We get to draw 2. So we're going to shuffle back 2. We're going to draw 2. And they are both absolutely just atrociously useless. Okay, cool. Well, we'll go for the Elf here. Activate the effect of the Elf. Grab up the Carrot. And then just set the Called By and pass. Hope and pray, you know? However, they do have Time-Tearing Morganite, so they're going to try to draw additional cards. And, yeah, Pot of Extrav. Ash, I guess, is useful, surprisingly, at this point. I activate the Elf, and they just concede. Somehow, some way, never give up, never surrender, it works. Now, normally I would say just scoop it up, but I was in a unique position to actually win that game. So here is the deck from my opponent, which is interesting to say the least. Why are we even running half or nothing? We're running 42 cards, and we're going, I need to play half or nothing. Very interesting. It's not interesting. It's just boring. I'm sure a lot of other people agree with this, but here's the thing. Stun shouldn't exist in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. And a lot of these cards, most notably these right here, the Barrier Statues and Pachycephalo, shouldn't exist. They just shouldn't be cards that are allowed in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I would even say Jougin should probably be banned, right? Because they are not things that are worth, like, protecting in a best of one. No one really enjoys playing against this, and I really don't think anyone enjoys playing it as well. I've never heard of anyone being like, yes, I enjoy playing stun. I hear people being like, yes, I enjoy playing anti-meta, which is not necessarily this, but it's more so a deck that is specifically designed to beat the meta, which could be a myriad of things. But that's not really any of these cards in particular. No one is attached to the barrier statues. No one is attached to Paschi's Cephalo, right? No one is attached. Maybe people are attached to Jougin because of like old school games, but for the most part, these just, they have no reason to be around in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel because of one notable change from the TCG to Master Duel, or OCG to Master Duel, and that is best of one. In a best of one, you don't really have the ability to side deck to potentially beat this, or you don't really have that option to potentially have a game where you get to go first and get to set up your combo knowing what your opponent is playing. That's something that really does hinder this style of gameplay. And I've played against stun decks in the TCG, and it's a lot more enjoyable. It's a lot more interesting and dynamic, right? It's not the most, but at the very least there is like some merit to playing that style and to playing those decks. There's a lot more nuance to it because of games 2 and 3 existing, right? Like, we've all seen Jeff Leonard FTK people with like Exodia, or like, you know, play stun with Mystic Mine and all of that jazz, right? So like, we've probably seen that, and we understand that there is that merit. But again, because of a best of one, because no side to deck, because you don't have the ability to prepare for what your opponent is playing, it really is just not fun for anyone who plays against it. And I feel like that is one of the major issues that Konami has currently in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, which is just like not making the game as fun as possible for the most amount of people. I think that is the biggest downside currently to Master Duel. Master Duel specifically. I think the TCG has been pretty good and pretty fun. Yes, it's not perfect, but it's not ever going to be perfect. But for the most part, it is a game that is more or less designed to be fun, right? That's why like the time rules and stuff like that exist. It's all designed to facilitate that enjoyment. And I feel like Master Duel has tripped up on a lot of those situations. This being one of those situations, right? Sure, you can enjoy playing this deck. That's totally up to you. If you enjoy playing this, if you enjoy watching other people struggle and like not be able to play the game because of your barrier statues and stuff like that, and that idea, that's fine. That's up to you. That's your opinion. You can have that. That's fine. But when it comes to making the game as enjoyable as possible for everyone, this is something that realistically shouldn't exist, right? Now, with that being said, do I think that that game that I had was very interesting? Of course. I thought that was a very fun and entertaining game. It was stressful, and I didn't like it at the moment, but thinking back on it, I'm like, yeah, that was a pretty interesting duel, and it was at least different, right? It was, what, 17 turns as compared to 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. Yeah. It's fairly nice, right? So at the very least, it's different. And so I see the merits to it. But in a best of one, this has no space. Also, Runic Sprite is really fun. That's all. I just wanna say that. Please, Konami. I know you don't listen to me, but please, Konami, for the love of all that is holy, please bring back Runic. I know it's just me, and I know I literally just said stun doesn't have a place in Yu-Gi-Oh! But please, Runic is not stun. It's so fun. Please. Thank you. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, I like it very much. So appreciate it. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.